a container plant. Some years I'm real successful, and other years it's just like, you know.
How's it going, Ron?
You're here, right?
Here.
5 more.
Are you counting down, Scotty,
Yes, I am.
for a break, huh?
Here, but I get so dizzy and headaches, I may leave, I don't know, I just, I got doctor's appointment.
Cheryl waiting on you?
No, she stayed home.
Oh, so you're
I
driving.
don't want to.
You're dizzy and you're driving? Oh, my
Give that
goodness.
to Cheryl for me, please.
I have a question. I'm still kind of confused on some whole thing.
I can keep that, I'll sign her name to it, I'll catch it.
Probably the other way around.
When we did, when we looked at replacing the computers, that project, so we consulted with the branch managers, how many were being used, we looked at statistics.
Be here, huh?
And that was the number that they came from. And the numbers, I mean, as far as the statistics.
We hadn't seen you for a while.
You just can't win, can you?
Well, you wasn't there in December either, was it?
No, I
All right.
Looked into it. Oh,
Yeah, oh, yeah.
okay. Well, so was I.
Yeah, you and I were doing
Yeah.
But that's a good question.
I haven't.
I think most of our branches.
We got 5 more to go.
Haven't you missed a meeting?
Oh, I did miss one, I had to go to, I had a funeral. One at Waverly, I missed that, but I don't remember what I had to do. 5 more to go.
Haven't you missed a meeting?
Oh, I did miss one, I had to go to, I had a funeral. One at Waverly, I missed it. What I had to do.
That's 6th grade. Yes, we'll have number 7 and the 19th grandchild. The last one on Thursday is a boy. Actually, they had to go back in for their and 19th grandchild.
We had to bring, or John, we had to bring the fight home for like.
Yeah.
Right now, they have.
Go ahead.
And they had to go to court with it. Now there's, she wants them. So they're gonna turn them over to her. With her family. And they were in court yesterday, and she had another baby at 26 months, or 26 weeks. She had that the day before. Nobody knew she was pregnant or nothing.
This would be the fourth.
This would be the third child she's had in 19 months.
Oh, my goodness.
20 years. Wow.
And that one's gotta be little, because my daughter's sister-in-law had one a year and a half ago at 24 weeks. He was 1 pound 7, 11 and a half inches.
Sure, in the NICU.
He was in the NICU. He was born September 4th in the NICU.
I'm glad you're sitting.
So you won't bless his little heart. He's, you know, a year and 6. He's got.
His? And he's a year old now.
Yeah.
So they said they should be okay.
You know.
Because she
meeting to order.
Why are we
No, that's,
Good. Hello?
Can we get you guys to mute yourself?
Can you mute? It's really. Thank you.
all right, we have no secretary to take roll call.
I'll ask for volunteers.
Can somebody take a roll call vote?
I can do it, Scotty.
Okay, Judy.
We're gonna do.
No, that's not why we were excited to see.
I know better.
You need some regular paper, Judy? I have a tab.
I can probably put it here. Georgia Jarman.
Here.
Judy Walter.
Here.
Scotty Walker.
Here,
Carlin Dillon. Here. Jane Beal.
Here.
Ron McMullen.
Right here.
Okay. Sandy Haskins. Here. Judy Tyler. Here.
Patty.
Here. I'm here. I'm sorry, Patty.
All right. Out of sight, out of mind.
all right.
Luke is in the back room.
Okay.
Kendra?
I'll him down.
Right there, wherever you want to.
Wherever.
I don't know
Wherever
which
you want
most
to.
most convenient for everybody to not have to like turn around
Can Sandy see you up there?
You might wanna come over here, so maybe.
the.
I know, we said we didn't care, and then we moved you around.
Like, go that way, so.
I can hear.
I'm Sarah Redden. I am the new branch manager for Odessa. I took over April 25th. And, we've been doing some really great things. We have a new person named Noelle Postaway, who took over programming for me, and she has been really great with it, but she's started expanding it too. So we're really excited about that, and we're starting to do more outreach into the community. So we're trying to find community partners to do things with. We have partnered with Baby Grace and Helping Hands, The Journey, which is one of the churches in town. The Realty here in town, we partnered and did a Christmas reading well, it was during Christmas time. It wasn't actually on Christmas. But, we're just finding different ways to get out there and get the name out there so that everybody remembers that we're here, that we're open, and that we want to help them. So we're trying to get back out there, and we're starting to get there. Seems like we're getting more and more. They're starting to come to us and request us to come to them, and we've partnered with several DECA through the schools to do projects with them as well. That's about it. You guys have any questions for me?
Thanks for what you're doing. Appreciate it. Thank you for being my drop-off point for my business card too.
It was nice to talk with Steve.
Okay. Steve's a nice guy, isn't he? We have other public comments. Okay,
Can I ask a question? I know Jay, but who are the others?
I'll just go ahead, because I'll make a little comment. I don't know, do you want me to stay here, or do you want me to?
Either one. Up
Okay.
here, at least they can see you on the.
So
on
my
the-
name is Amy Franklin. I worked in corporate America for about 15 years. I was a public school educator for 20. Retired from education. I spent time, 14 years in Pleasant Hill, Missouri. I spent some time up north in Trenton, Missouri, and then I retired from Holden School District last May. I'm currently circulation staff at Warrensburg. So that's kind of my retirement gig, my dream job. I guess, I'm really here tonight just because, there was some concern, I guess, about maybe, our unsheltered patrons, at our Holden, or at our Warrensburg branch. And I guess I just want to make a couple of comments. We have a code of conduct that they all follow, whether you are unsheltered or you're a regular patron, you still have to follow the rules. I've been there since the end of August. We've had to deal with a few situations, but really not anything that I wouldn't expect. So I guess as a public educator in a public school system, I had students that came to me from all socioeconomic classes. I didn't get to pick and choose who was in my classroom any one given year or semester. I had to just love on them all. And I feel as a public library, that's kind of where we're at. Whether our patrons are unsheltered and they come to us for heat or cool to get cooled off during the day, or they're coming in to get services, to get SNAP benefits, or trying to get housing so they can get out of their current situation. I guess we just have to love on them all. But our core values listed in our Warrensburg branch is we care, okay? We are inclusive, and we are open. And so I know we get patrons in our library that says, oh, we need to clean out the trash. No, those are human beings, okay? So whether they have money or they don't, we treat them all the same. And I feel like a public library should be open to all citizens. I mean, we need to have services for those that are sheltered or unsheltered. So being inclusive and welcoming everyone in regardless of their current situation. And the reality is I've heard about 70%, I would say it might be higher, 70% of our population in the United States is one paycheck away from being unsheltered, okay? So any of us, maybe not us in this room, but maybe some of us in this room could be that close to not having a shelter or not knowing where our next meal is coming from. So I think we do a pretty good job at the Warrensburg branch of welcoming all and meeting everyone. So, thank you.
Thank you for your comments.
Can I ask, and her name?
My name is Jackie, and I am representative of the unsheltered in
Judy.
Oh, okay.
I think she's
Her name's on there.
Okay.
She's trying to get it down for the minute.
All right.
You'll get to me.
Any other public comments? Show up. Okay, none appearing. We'll move to the consent agenda. Any discussion on those items?
We approve the consent agenda.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Can we get a roll call vote?
Dorothy Jarman. Judy Walter.
Yes.
Carla Dillon.
Yes.
Jane Beal.
Yes.
Ron McMullen.
Yes.
Sandy Hankey.
Yes.
And Patty Long.
Yes.
Susan Tyler and Scotty Walker. Yes.
Yes. Okay. All right. Do we have a, update on the evaluation committee?
Well,
Yeah.
I guess I'm the spokesperson for that now. We have had a setback because of work. So we're running a little behind. That's partly our fault too, because we just kind of dumped it on her and then, well, we kind of made some decisions, but she had a lot of the information that we needed.
She had it all on her computer.
So anyway, It's in the past, we're moving forward.
Yes.
We do have some evaluations that we're looking at, but we feel like we need a little more time, so we're thinking maybe in a week, we should have the board surveys ready and we'll email those out. And we would like those mailed back.
And I've got envelopes, I'm gonna give those here, and Patty and Sandy, I will mail them to you. And an envelope that you can put Jackie's evaluation in, and mail it to one of us. It's kind of anonymous, so we don't know who's sending what, out.
We hope to have that out next week. We'll email those out. And with the employee surveys, we're hoping in a week or maybe 2 weeks. Because we're having to start from scratch again. So we hopefully in 2 weeks, we'll have all the employee surveys go out. And, we're gonna have all those mailed back. We're gonna give everybody about 2 weeks. I don't know that we're gonna make the February board meeting.
Okay.
We'll try, but it may carry over into March.
Okay. If I could just add, Carlin, the thing that has really made this slow down super slow is that we have not been able to get any of the work that was done early. And there was supposed to be a mailing right around Thanksgiving. That didn't happen. And so I'm just saying to you that we apologize for the delay, but we are trying really hard to start all over and get the information out.
We're working on it.
Appreciate the update and the work you've done, and sorry that you have to start back in the middle. Ron, did you have?
I just said I may not be able to bring it up on the computer. She may just have to mail me one.
Oh, okay.
Okay, we can do
Yeah,
that.
you might just want to mail.
I'll
it
make
to
a
me.
note.
My wife might be able to bring it up on the computer, but she can do everything, but our computers are kind of gone berserk.
Okay.
Okay, no problem, Ron. We'll mail yours out.
All right.
All right, under new business, we need to consider approving the summer reading program grant. Is that summer reading?
Yes.
Okay.
So if you remember back in November, we had approached the board, to approve applying for the grant. So we awarded the grant, so now we are asking, to approve accepting that award, $14,341. And of course, that comes with the project that we put together for that. But it is for the, summer reading program, and it does include a seasonal part-time library clerk in that, to kind of help with the summer reading programming and preparation and all of that. So that would all be included with that grant. And it would be for 10 weeks for the.
Is that someone that you'll have to hire, or
Yes.
someone you're gonna use out?
Yeah, we would have to hire someone separate for that. So it would be additional help for our staff for that, yeah.
But that's just a temporary position?
Yes, it's just for that 10 weeks through the grant project.
And where will they be working?
Probably a little bit here, a little bit there. I'll
Okay.
probably start out in Warrensburg and getting the prep stuff ready, and then wherever they're needed, whatever branch.
Okay, but that's their only duties is
Correct.
to get that, okay.
I move we accept the award for $14,341 for the summer reading. Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Where does that money come from?
It's from, so it's federal money that is given to the state library to distribute via these grants. But it's
Okay.
the LSTA, it's distributed, and managed through the state library.
Any other discussion on that? We'll take a roll call vote, please.
Georgia Jarman? Yes. Judy Walter?
Yes.
Carlin Dillon?
Yes.
Jane Beal?
Yes.
Ron McMullen?
Yes.
Andy Henke?
Yes.
Patty Long?
Yes.
Susie Tyler, yes. Scotty Walker?
Yes.
Passed unanimously.
All right, thank you very much. now we need to talk about the lunches in the library. Do you want to talk first? Do you want to talk? Who's going to talk?
I think it's all on
Okay.
Jackie, that's Jackie. Oh, Jackie West, I think we've already kind of, ad hoc introduced you.
I would stand over here.
Yeah,
so
that way
the
they
people
can
on the-
see you on,
yeah.
At home.
All right. So I am Jackie West, and I am the director of Refuge on Main, which is the homeless shelter in Warrensburg, Missouri. In Warrensburg, we have a food pantry. They are open Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays. We had Karen at the Salvation Army, and she was serving lunches on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. Karen, who has been there for many, many, many years, decided to retire, and congratulations to her, she's been doing this forever. But she's been feeding the clientele, our residents of Warrensburg, the unsheltered, people experiencing homelessness. She's been feeding.
We partnered with several sectors for the school to do projects with them as well.
Can we ask those at home to mute themselves, please? Thank you.
Sorry, anyway, so when she retired, that program went away, and that was something that she did out of her pocket. It wasn't just the people from my shelter that she was feeding, but the regular unsheltered. So I decided, well, if the food pantry is open Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday, and there's a church across the street from the library, the Christian church, and they serve lunches on Wednesdays, that the only days that really they weren't covered for lunches were Monday, Friday, and Sunday, when the library is not open on Sunday. So I said, well, I'm gonna try and talk to the library and say, hey, can we just set up shop here? I will make the food, I bring it in, it's all out of my own pocket. Refuge on Main doesn't pay for it, I do, which is, I'm fine with that. Carrie did it out of her pocket, I didn't wanna cost my employers, their money on something I wanted to take over. And so that's what we did. I asked the library staff, hey, can I just set up shop? You don't have to do anything. I'll bring it in, I'll take it home, I'll clean it up, and that's what we did until we were told not to. And it's caused a lot of concern with the patrons there, because now they're afraid that they can't be at the library anymore at all. So there's been that concern. But it also helps with the issue of being hangry and some of the concerns and challenges that the library has faced has been because, they've just been hungry. There's a food box across the street, but there's no telling if there's gonna be a meal for them, lunch, if it's a little open package of, whatever they can find. Sometimes it's full, and sometimes it's, there's weeks where it's not full at all. And I know Missouri Valley controls that particular food box, but I try to make sure that there's food in it too, but I'm only one person, I can only do so much. That's what we're at, to be able to on Mondays and Fridays, so we're not taking resources away from the community, not the food pantry on Tuesdays and Saturdays, and definitely not the church on Wednesdays. I just want to go in and be able to feed them lunch. They're very kind, they eat, they clean up, they go back to their business a little happier, a little fuller, and that's just all I'm asking.
About how many do you serve a day?
Oh, gosh, I don't know. Jay, what do you think?
Probably, a lot of times it depends on how many, patrons are in there, because it's not just for, the unhoused, it's also for anybody, because we've had, some of our book club people have come through there whenever we have a book club, and they'll, oh, hey, there's food, and yeah, they can absolutely do that too. So it could be anywhere from 10 to 20 people, depending on who's in the branch at the time.
Maybe 30 tops.
I was gonna say, I don't think we've had more than even 25, but 30, I would say absolutely.
Where do you serve it?
Just at the front area of the library, they come in, they sit down, they eat, they go away, they go about their business in the other parts of the library.
Who furnishes the food?
I do.
You do?
I buy it, I cook it, I bring it. I take it, if there's any leftovers.
Did you approach anyone else with a place to serve it?
No, so when I found out that she was quitting, I was just kind of in a desperate situation to find a local area that was not too far from where they traveled from the Salvation Army. And I had asked, hey, can I set up, I just made sandwiches and that was really all I was going to do. And, we set up sandwiches outside the library, off to the side. And then it just turned into we started going inside because they can eat inside. And
You didn't approach any other churches or any other?
no, I approached Missouri Valley, but they didn't have a big enough area for them to cycle through. But that was about it, only because I had worked there. And of course, the Salvation Army, I had talked to Karen about it, but they weren't comfortable in just opening the door because it was just me and I didn't work there. So, but no, I hadn't talked to the other churches yet.
Is there some reason why they couldn't come to the homeless shelter and eat their
It's
lunch?
kind of far out there. So where it's in, it's still kind of a trek for everyone. We were just trying to make it to where it wasn't too far. It's still downtown. It's still, where most of the people were. So I was just trying to meet them where they were.
You didn't ask the city of Warrensburg if they had anywhere that they could
I
let
did
you
not.
serve lunch?
So Jay, we're saying that, a lot of the patrons were having problems. What is it from your standpoint? Have you had complaints or?
No, actually, I think having the meals there, first of all, has made, the patrons feel welcome in the library, but also it's taken care of quite a few of the bigger problems that we have seen in the past. We have, as many, like you said, hangry people. They're getting their meals, they know they have that meal, Monday through Saturday, they have a new meal. So they don't have to worry too much about where their food is coming from. So it's actually helped to kind of any behavior problems that we have seen. Major behavior problems we have seen.
And I will say, the custodian, Melissa, that cleans there at Warrensburg, so she did stop by my office and she wasn't able to come tonight since it would be so late for her to get back. But, she did assure me that she doesn't have to clean up anything. They take care of everything, so it's not any extra work for her. There's a little extra trash, but she has to take the trash out every day. So, for her, it's not adding any extra for her work day.
And they kind of police themselves too, so if someone, says, or if they dump it or leave it at the table or whatever, there will be another patron that says, hey, come on, clean up after yourself. They kind of do police themselves as well.
Andy? Sandy?
Yes, I kind of feel like this should have been brought to the board before this ever happened. It's kind of after the fact, and I think, I feel like other than just coming to the library, I think that this should have been checked out maybe with the city, to see if they have some building or if there's another church close by, whether that, since those churches are already doing some things, if you're bringing the food and I understand now you're cooking food, it's not like just sandwiches anymore.
That's correct.
So before I understood that it was just a brown bag lunch sandwiches, and now we've turned into cooking, and we're not equipped, we're not a restaurant. And I think eventually, this could cause some health issues. Is your kitchen at home food certified, from the health office? Because, I think there could be a problem with somebody if they got sick from food. I know it's just like people, cooking food in their home and taking it and selling it someplace that develops into a problem that food has to come from a certified kitchen if you're actually cooking it. So I think we could run into a lot of problems if we are not careful. I think we're just going to have to really think about this and, maybe see if is some other location. A lot of churches have kitchens in them, where there is a better situation, to serve food and clean it up, or, especially if you're cooking the food. But I am concerned that if you're cooking the food and it's served in our facility, are we going to be liable for, because it's not a health and inspected place when you're serving them food like that?
The church across the street, they cook the food and they serve it, and the patrons bring it to the library and eat it. How is that any different?
Well, that's what we're saying.
Well, but
That shouldn't be happening either, really.
So
Well,
But-
they're bringing it in, not it
No,
being served.
she's bringing it in too.
Right, that's what I'm saying, but the patrons themselves are going somewhere
Okay,
and getting
so
it and bringing it.
what if I decide, okay, just for instance, what if I decide I want to throw a party in the library? And what if I want to bring a birthday cake and have punch and all of that?
Well,
And if I agree to serve it to everybody in the library, then it should be okay.
I think a couple
I
of
think
things
we're
that
opening our- I just think we're opening ourselves up to a can of worms that can explode, because then people with small children, oh, well, I don't have to rent a place for a birthday party. We're just going to take the cake and our goodies to the library and do it there and not have to pay anything, like going to Pizza Hut or a little place like that. I just think we're opening ourselves up to a whole can of worms.
well, as far as throwing parties or anything like that in the library, we have that in our meeting room saying that that's not something, not a purpose for that space. So
Well,
that eliminates some of that, but I understand what you're saying as far as an example.
my point is this: we're a library, and we're open to the public, and the homeless are for the public, and we do serve. But we are not a shelter, we are not a soup kitchen, and I feel like that I feel for them, sound like I'm hard-hearted, because I do feel for them. But I feel like this is a city problem. It should be a city or a church problem, someone that does charitable work. I'm afraid this is gonna be perceived as that we're spending our tax dollars on catering to the homeless. And that's the problem I have with it. We are a library, and nowhere in our policy book do I see that it says that we should house the homeless. I don't see that anywhere. You feel for them. I do hope that you can find somewhere. That I just feel like our public library is not it.
Georgia,
Can you mute, please?
You might be,
turn that thing.
messing with programming, because a lot of times we do make cupcakes, cookies, fruit brownies at home and bring them in for our programs. So you might want to be careful, and I'm just letting you know that you could,
Open another can of worms.
open another can of worms when it comes to, because we do actually have signs that whenever we put out food, it does say, not cooked in a certified kitchen. That is something we've been doing since before I got here, and that was in 2019. So whenever we would have, and I know in Holden, they used to do the soup thing. I tried to get that back. We used to have that soup day in Holden, where everyone would bring in different soups for National Soup, serve it to the public as a program. So I'm just saying, some of what you're all saying as a branch manager is making me a little bit worried about programming.
Well, I don't think we should be having, in schools, they don't let you bring in anything that's been home baked. It has to be store-bought or individually wrapped. So, I mean, if you're baking brownies and bringing them in, I don't know if you used ingredients that someone's not allergic to. I don't know if if your milk was good. I mean, that's just a complicated thing if you start bringing in home-baked goods and serving it out to the public.
And that's why they've got these rules in the schools. I have, and I have grandchildren in large schools in Blue Valley. And, I know there are issues, and I know some of the parents, and they cannot, it doesn't make any difference. They cannot bring anything in unless it's in those sealed packages. They just cannot do it because of the liability. And that just opens us up. And I don't think we want to be in that position.
Georgia, what did you?
Thank you.
Uh,
I want to say, first of all, that there is not anybody at this table who is angry about the homeless people having food.
No.
That is not our issue at all. We are not wanting anybody to be denied opportunities to check out books and use library resources, whether they're homeless or not. We are not about that. But I want you to know, there's a list of things that have had to happen to discourage the homeless population from being in our Warrensburg branch. One of our board members talked to a state representative recently, and he said, oh yes, the Warrensburg Library is a homeless shelter. That is what he said. We appreciate that, Don. You know, not a big deal, but we appreciate it. The last thing that we want, though, is for that to be an impression that's out in the public. Here are some things that we've done. The staff and patrons no longer have to step over people who are camped out on their way into our library in the mornings. Groups of people no longer are allowed to hang out in our parking lot or on our property. We continually trespass people that violate our patron behavior policies. We're not allowed to sleep, to go barefoot, etc., in the library. Patrons are no longer allowed to smoke
Can you hit your mute button, please?
in our library. I beg your pardon?
I was asking them to hit their mute button.
Okay. Food and drink has been limited to the front of the library. Patrons are no longer able to park or live in cars in our parking lot. The addition of 2 part-time public safety technicians that continuously make rounds in our library, parking lot, and grounds to address patron behavior issues. Those are the things that this board and our library leadership have been doing to try to improve the impression of our library.
The cameras.
And the
And
security.
the cameras.
And what?
Security cameras.
Yes.
Mhm.
And the cameras are about to be installed. There are some real advantages to them, I think, but everybody has their view. But this has been a problem, and it has been a problem for quite a while. And we are faced with how do we address that problem with fairness? And how do we dispel the idea that that library is a homeless shelter? That's where our board is, or some of us. We haven't voted on it, we haven't talked about it, but we should have. And that's where we are. We're not mean, wicked people, you know, who don't want people to have food. We are people, though, who want to keep our library in a situation where people would not question bringing their children or going themselves. And it is a problem, unfortunately, that I think previous leaders have felt helpless to do anything about and haven't done anything about. So it's become a part of the library culture. And so those are big problems for us. And I just want to say that. I want you to know that I am not against homeless people having food. Not. But that's where I am. Are there any questions about anything I said?
I just like to
Sandy?
say, I think the library, we have had to dip into our funds to hire extra people to make our people feel safe, getting cameras to making our employees feel safe. And yes, we are a library. I think we're all about, we're not against homeless people by any means. But I just think we have to keep the structure of our library a library, and we can't continue to have to hire more people to police those people. And those people have left awful things in our bathrooms where our patrons may be taking their young children. And I want these libraries to be a place where I was always able to take my kids to a library at a young age. And I don't want that to ever go away. And so we have to keep our libraries a library, I think. And I agree with everything that Georgia said.
I feel like the homeless people are some of our patrons. They are. But they're not the only patrons we have. We have other patrons we have to think about too.
And the people experiencing homelessness are not the only people that were eating either. We've had parents with children walk by and go, hey, we've had kids who, ooh, fresh fruit or, you know, fresh vegetables, and they've eaten them. I mean, it's open to anyone who's there. That hasn't been an issue. And whether I go in and bring them food or not, these are the same people. I'm not bringing extra homeless people with me by any means. It's not a soup kitchen where people are running, you know, there's lines out the door and the whole community is coming. I'm just saying those same people are going to be there whether I'm there or not.
I know, but, and I'm not saying your food's bad or by any means. I mean, I don't know. But what if somebody got sick and they said, oh yeah, I ate at the library and that food made me sick, and they decided to sue us?
Right, I understand. Well, they could sue me. The library is not a part of it.
They're gonna sue the library because the library, they're gonna sue the library.
And we shouldn't have a buffet in the library. You know, so that even the other patrons can just.
Yeah, that's,
No,
I don't know.
it wasn't a library.
I would feel.
I feel like
weird
part of this problem
going
is the cities. Maybe they should go to, the courthouse.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. The courthouse, that's a good public place for them. Try the courthouse.
It would be nice, but the city has basically washed their hands of the problem. They don't think that it's a city issue. They're leaving it to the shelters and to the churches and to charities to help these people.
Yeah,
That's right. But we, the library, is none of those things.
But it is a city problem, and it's a state problem, but it's not our problem.
Nationwide.
Yes. Mhm.
It is a city problem. It's
It
not
is.
just the library.
no.
I said at the beginning of this that we should all go to a city council meeting in Warrensburg.
Yeah.
You know, for the city to say it's not their problem, they're just kicking the can into somebody else's lap.
Mhm.
You know?
Agreed.
I commend you for taking this on yourself.
Okay, it's what I do.
Well, I mean-
It's who I am.
I mean, I really do. I commend you for it because a lot of people wouldn't. But I just feel like as a library, I think we're opening ourselves up for a lawsuit.
Ron, you're awful quiet. You have anything to add?
I don't want to upset anybody.
Oh, since
Ron,
when?
You've never, you know.
Well, especially with the law that came out recently where.
Oh, the camp on state property?
On any state property. I mean, we don't necessarily belong to the state, but we do belong to a form of government. Because that's where we get our money, is tax money.
That's right. And we have to be careful.
Well, I feel like the library is providing them with some shelter.
Shelter resources.
And I'm not opposed to that. As long as they follow the rules, I am not opposed to that.
Most of the
And
unsheltered.
look at all the extra rules that we have had to make in the last 9 months. We have had to totally readjust a lot of things. And like I said, hire more people. So,
I feel like they're taking over the Warrensburg branch, and I feel like that's all we talk about at the Warrensburg branch. We don't talk about the other programs, we don't talk about the other patrons coming in. I feel like our whole focus is on the homeless in Warrensburg.
I will tell you that a year ago, in my first board meeting, when I was going to be appointed, I got there a little early before the thing. And when you go in the Warrensburg branch, because they've got the desk right there in front, and I usually read a lot of large print. So by the time I went all the way through the maze, back to the large print area, and there's a little seating area, not that it made me nervous necessarily, because I'm pretty upfront, but there was a homeless person with his bag that was sitting there on the phone for the 30 minutes I was in there, screaming into the phone to his lawyer and talking about the 5 charges that were against him and how he was going to get around all these charges. Now, if I had been there with a child or even, you know, more of a frail person, I would have been really nervous. And this was a big guy, and there was somebody else there. And when you're way back there in that area, you know very well in the warrants, nobody can see you back there. So that was my kind of first impression of the library when I went there, and it was not a very positive thing when I went there.
Well, I was in the library today. I was in there this afternoon. And I walked through the whole library. And there were homeless that were scattered out through. They were quiet. And the library was a busy place this afternoon. There were a lot of people in and out of there. They weren't all homeless. There were other people in there. And the homeless that I came across, they were very quiet. They were either on their phones. A couple of them were looking at a book. One of them was reading a paper. And they were sitting back in the corners. And as I came on around, there were somebody in one of the study rooms. There were several of them there. They were quiet. They were well behaved. They weren't like fighting with each other. And I know that's been a problem. And I don't have a problem with them in the library as long as they follow the rules.
And one of the things that we've done also is Erin, I have spoken with her, and of course I talk to Jay regularly. And one of the things we've done, they have our set of rules for the shelter, but they are, I don't want to say punished, because I'm not their parent, but they have consequences at the shelter for their behavior out in the community as well. Because I came in and am trying to hold them accountable. I help them get food stamps. I help them get Medicaid. I help them get disability, and that's no small thing to go through. It takes 2 days per client.
Yeah.
So I'm helping them get and reach out the resources. And if I think they need help with Compass, I get them hooked up with Compass. And the Thursday Coffee Connections have been amazing in doing that, because Michelle, who's there from Compass, she and I have got together and we've helped a lot of the clients as well. But when I started working, I've only been there since June. So when I started working, I came in, feet on the floor running, because I had to, and honestly had no idea what I was doing. But I'm holding them accountable to say what's not acceptable here. And so what ends up happening, there's several programs, and I am getting calls now, hey, can you help me with this resident? Are you having problems? So they are being held accountable, my residents. I can't speak for the other homeless shelter in Warrensburg, but my residents, I mean, Refuge on Main is getting a much better name than it's ever had before. But I'm getting calls from other agencies because we are each holding my clients accountable, because that's what I demand. So I went into the community and I made friends with all these agencies, and I said, when you act like that there, you're going to have consequences here. So you're going to learn to behave, and you're going to learn to be a functioning human in society, because you have to be. This is not your home. You need to do, and some of them, we had a client, and it's not my job to tell them what their goals are. It's my job to help them reach whatever goal they need, because sometimes not everyone wants to be housed. Like, we had one gentleman, and I was like, what can I do for you? What can I help you accomplish? And he said, I need a blanket, a pillow, and a phone charger, and I gave him all three things. I haven't seen him since. I mean, I see him around town, he's just happy as a clam. But that was his goal for his life, and he doesn't frequent the library like at all, he's never there. But my point is, sometimes their ultimate goal would be, you know, assisted living or, you know, whatever. And I'm trying to help them accomplish their goals for their life, because I can't be a more active participant in their life. But part of the reason that they're quiet, because most of them at the library right now are my residents. And because they're quiet, or because of me holding them accountable in the community. Because before I started there were drunken brawls in the front lawn, like almost every night. And the police were there. Even the police had come to me and like, I don't know what you're doing, but don't stop. Because my clients are not. Because they're learning that just because you're experiencing homelessness right now, it's not who you are. And you don't need to act like, you don't need to be a vagrant vagabond out in the community, because what's gonna happen? And now, when we have someone who goes to Standing in the Gap, Joe will call me and say, hey, he came from you, tell me, is a good guy or not. So, you know, we've had some concerns. You know, and he does the same for me. He'll get a guy who won't make it there, and he'll send them to me, and I'll call him, okay, tell me. And so we have people in the community telling, if you're gonna act like that here, we're gonna let Jackie know. And it stops. So I mean, there is that, and I'm not by any means responsible for everyone's well behavior, but I am holding them to a much higher standard than anyone ever has, because I want to see them succeed. I genuinely want to see them succeed. So there is, you know, that accountability as well.
Sandy?
Yes, I would like to say, you know, we are taxpayer funded for the taxpayers. We are a library. We are not a social services place for people to receive their needs. There are places in the county, in Warrensburg, there was an event here in Concordia at the community center that had over 60 servicing agencies there. I'm I mean, I know these people need someplace to be and things to do, but there are those services available to them at other places in the city of Warrensburg where they can go. And I think we could talk about this all night long, and I think it's time for to make a motion and we vote.
Are you going to make a motion?
Yes, I will make a motion that we do not allow Refuge on Ming to serve, to provide lunches or serve meals in our facility.
So a motion, this is something I learned a while back. A motion has to be positive. It can't be negative.
Okay.
You make it.
Let's see.
Give them a certain time to another place.
How about if
Well,
you
I don't
said,
know how to do that. I guess I'm at a
George-
loss
Georgia-
for words.
I move that we leave things as they are. That's a positive motion. That doesn't mean that that's what I believe, but it's the way we have to do it.
Or
So in other words,
or other avenues.
I move that we leave things as they are with this.
But how are they right now?
so as I understand, the motion is to leave things as they are. If you don't want to leave things as they are, then you vote against the motion.
If you like the way it is now and you want to continue it, you vote yes.
So they're not currently serving food in the library. At the end of December, we stopped that.
So that
I am-
means we would not be,
Things
that
as
means
they
we would not
are.
be allowed.
Yeah, leave it as it is. If you want that, then you vote yes, and if you don't want it, you vote no.
So we,
saying we have already stopped the food from coming in.
Oh, well, let's go. I move that we put things back the way they were, serving food in the library for homeless people.
Okay, how about if we make a motion, we allow them to serve food, provide lunches for the homeless, free lunches for the homeless in the Warrensburg branch.
Great.
Okay, let's say that again. Allow
I move that we allow
Refuge on Main,
Refuge on Ming to serve lunches Mondays and Fridays at the Warrensburg branch.
Yes, but what about the fact of them cooking food and not coming from a certified kitchen? That still opens us up for a lawsuit.
That's not on the agenda.
It's not on the agenda. Not a vote.
That's not on the agenda.
So now you get to vote yes or no, whether.
okay, so
Can you read that?
Need a second.
is this gonna be Carlin Dillon's motion or Sandy Hankins' motion?
I'll make it mine.
Or Georgia.
Okay,
It was a joint effort.
one of them can second it, I don't care. Well, Carlin Dillon moves that we allow Refuge on Main to serve lunch Monday and Friday at the Warrensburg branch. Is this, well, because it's not just homeless, it's for anybody.
Yeah, free lunch.
Okay. Do I hear a second? Yes, I'll make a second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Does anybody need to hear that again? All right, can we have a roll call vote? Or is there any further discussion? Make sure everybody has a chance to put their 2 cents worth in. Patty Long, do you have anything to say?
We lost.
I guess we lost you. Okay.
Patty,
George
you still
Jarman.
there?
Can you hear me?
Yes, now, say it again, Patty.
Okay, George Jarman,
No.
Judy Walter,
No.
Carlin Dillon,
No.
Jane Beal,
No.
Ron McMullen,
No.
Sandy Hankey,
No.
Patty Long. Patty Long. Judy Tyler, no. Scotty Walker.
No.
Maybe we did lose Patty.
Must have, I'll just put abstain.
I would say no vote.
No.
No vote, yeah.
No vote would be.
Foster.
Thank you all for your work.
I wish you all the luck in finding somewhere to serve lunch.
Yeah.
Because it is commendable what you do.
All right. We need to elect a new board secretary.
I want to nominate.
I've already got a job, so
We have Judy
I-
Tyler again.
I offered to switch jobs with you back last fall, and you didn't want to.
I move we elect Judy Tyler.
Now, remember in, was it June, you redo audit?
Redo.
So
Yeah.
it would be a short stint.
Oh, sure.
For anybody, I'm just saying that to the room, not just to you.
Okay, I will volunteer to do it till June.
Yeah, and then you guys will be saying, Judy wants to do it for the last year.
No, because maybe I think we need a break.
Well, we'll have some new people.
And
on
we'll
the
have
board.
it, we'll have
Yeah,
some
she
new
doesn't
people
wanna
on
do
the
it,
board.
fine. She doesn't mind doing it, great.
Yeah.
Because she's good at it.
I'll do it for the rest of this fiscal year,
All
Okay,
right,
through
good,
June.
because you're good at it.
Next year, I don't care if everybody quits. I ain't doing it.
thank you, Judy.
Thank you.
Judy.
I always said that.
Okay,
We need a second.
I'm sorry.
We need
I'll
a second.
second it.
All right.
all right. I guess we'll take a roll call vote.
Well, you know, at the last meeting, we decided we didn't have to do.
That's right, we did, didn't we? Okay, all in favor?
Show of hands, maybe?
Sure, all in favor? Any opposed? All right, motion carries. I forgot about that. Thanks for reminding me.
Opposed,
Did
can take it.
Sandy, did you vote?
Yeah.
She raised her hand, yeah.
I waved,
What's that?
I waved it yes, that's good. I waved
Okay.
it.
Okay, so interpretation of F203 policy?
Okay, so, we're needing a little bit of clarity on the interpretation of policy F203, which is leave. This really only pertains to, it should be in your packet, yes.
There.
Yes.
Full-time.
So it really has to do with the annual leave, and it has to, what happened was when we redid this, when we split the annual leave and sick leave, what we realized was there were some words left off of the table portion of the tiers, that said years of service. So that was being, it could be interpreted in two different ways. And so we had an instance with a staff member that had brought this to our attention, thinking that they would, at the end of 4 years, move tiers instead of 5 years, which is what we have been doing. So I did consult our legal counsel, and he suggested that the board make the interpretation. And of course, in the history, it has always been after 5 years and 10 years. And so then if that's how you guys are interpreting it, instead of 4 and 9 years, then the revisions that I have would be voted on next. If not, we would have to bring it back to you.
Fine, guys.
That makes sense to everybody?
Mhm.
It was just a clerical error that was left off. We didn't mean to change the interpretation of when you move from tier to tier. And then the attorney did suggest that we put the next sentence in there that made it very clear when you moved from one step to the other.
I make a motion, we, as written on 6, whatever that is, 6D.
D. Well, which interpretation, after you move tiers after 4 and 9 years of service, or after 5 and 10 years of service?
5 and 10.
Okay.
All right, we have a motion and a second to change that to 5 years and 10 years, or to clarify that as being 5 years and 10 years, not to change it, but to clarify it.
Right.
Yes.
Is there any discussion? Is everybody all right with just a hand vote? All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. Now, is this something similar on the sick leave?
No, so that was the part for the interpretation, and this is actually approving the changes, the edits to the policy itself. So there's two different things on there, in case you guys did the different interpretation.
So then.
So what do we need to do?
Anything in that?
Yep, you would have to approve now the edits, the updates to the policy itself,
Okay,
the parts that are in red in your.
As we approve the changes and the edits to policy.
Second that.
all right, we have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Okay, consider approving the June meeting date from Warrensburg to Holden. That's kind of my thing. If you want to do it, I appreciate it, but if you don't, I'm all right with that too. But I'd kind of like for my last meeting to be in Holden.
It's not, you're not the only one that's flashing meeting.
I would like my last meeting, but if we want to move it to Nom Nosser, I'm okay with that, or Lexington.
I don't have anybody in Nom Nostra that would care.
Okay. It kind of all started for me in Holden back many years ago.
I don't want it like.
Okay.
I wanted it Holden because I'd rather be driving there.
In the daylight?
I move that we honor Scotty's wish.
I'll get some money in that very last meeting.
Do I?
I'll get some money in that very last meeting.
Yeah.
Long drive.
Yeah, long drive in Lexington.
I second the motion.
That's the way that most of us felt about the Christmas party out there.
I know it was way out there.
Where the heck? We step across the line.
It was fun, though. We had a great.
It was a lot of fun.
Can we not do it a little closer?
Well, we're gonna plan it earlier because Jay has promised me that she has a reminder on her calendar to remind me very early in the year.
June,
All righty.
I think May.
4th of July.
We didn't vote on moving the meeting, so all in favor? Any opposed? Thank you very much. I appreciate that. And then Board of Trustee meeting times changes.
We've already done this once. I mean, we changed from 8 o'clock.
I remember it being 7:30. I don't remember it being 8 o'clock,
8
but
o'clock and then 7:30 and
Yeah.
7 and.
This, Sandy Hinkie requested this be put on the agenda.
Sandy?
You want 6:30,
Yeah,
that's what you're
I just thought, most of our members are older and I mean, just consensus from a couple of discussions maybe that it would be better in the wintertime if we were earlier. And, when we have daylight savings time, that's one thing, but maybe, I don't know.
Next-
Just a thought.
Yeah, my concern's in Scotty Wilshire Lake, whether he can be there.
Scotty's not gonna be on the board.
Well, he will be, we're gonna start doing it right away, aren't we, next month?
What's that?
Moving it to 6:30.
Well, that would depend on what comes out of your discussion and the approval.
Well, I would just say that if we change it too much, we really eliminate who we can have
Yeah.
on the board.
Mm-hmm.
Do we want us old folks on the board?
Yeah, right.
Or do we want?
Old folks, we
No,
can
I'm
handle
not-
that.
We
I'm
do.
older than you are.
Well, okay, you can have the prize. But what I'm trying to say is if we want new people and younger people to serve on the board, they're almost all working. And I think we need to.
Do we have a Saturday option? I know not all libraries are open on Saturday.
But maybe we can make Waverly during the time when it's light. That may be,
We can rework the schedule
Yeah.
for when we,
Mhm.
when we travel.
Yeah.
I think Waverly's is the main issue there.
Yeah. That's a long ways away.
Waverly, Porter. I'm sorry.
Not for you.
Porter's not as far,
Hey, I feel the same way for you having to come back this way and go to Holden. I mean,
Yeah.
or Leeton,
Yeah.
yeah.
Wheaton's in May, so.
but it has been.
Guys,
Either
I had a
that
thought.
or,
There was a
Sandy?
method behind my madness, because I thought, when we go to the different libraries, we all we see is maybe the library manager and we see their place. But I kind of think it'd be nice, if we just paid a visit to the library, not necessarily have to have a meeting at that library. I'd like to go to those libraries and see when they're in action and people are there. I would rather go there when they're during their business day. We could all do that on our own whenever we wanted to. And, just make our meetings, solely at Warrensburg or split the difference in Concordia. Concordia is kind of the middle of everywhere. It's not just because I'm here, but I just think that might be an option for us, that I just think I would like to go visit the libraries when they're in action. Just 2 cents.
We will always let you in, I promise. With welcome arms.
yeah, I like going to each library and being able to see the libraries and
I do too.
and meet the branch manager, and I like that. I like being able to do that. But, I'm afraid we might
Maybe if our
interrupt too
schedule
much.
didn't have us making those long trips in the winter. And
Now,
In the
let's
su- in
hang
the
on here,
summer-
Georgia.
Yeah, but then what are you gonna, what if in the summertime you
It's
got
always-
floods and.
It's always gonna be a long trip for somebody, no matter where we
Yeah,
go.
no matter what you do.
So, yeah,
Warrensburg is more centrally located.
But it's a matter of when it's dark,
yeah.
really dark.
I think we should do.
In deer
some of what
season.
Sandy's saying and keep our meetings going to the library.
But maybe we can do
Just gonna adjust the winter meetings.
When we do the schedule for next fiscal year, we can make sure that when we're traveling, those ones that are so far out, that we have those more in the summer when it's the daylight savings time instead of it getting dark so early.
I think that'd be great.
Yeah.
I feel that since beginning in March, we're not gonna switch back our time come November. We're gonna be on daylight savings time always, aren't we?
No,
Oh, I don't know.
no, Hasn't passed. Hasn't passed, no.
Okay.
Unless it just in last,
I thought it was supposed to go into effect in 23.
Which is now.
Yeah,
the last I read, that the House has passed it, but the Senate has just not done anything.
Well,
So, and that's,
neither one of them doing it.
anyway, are we gonna leave it as is? Are we gonna do something?
Leave it as
I say leave it as is.
A motion?
I move that we leave the schedule of 7 o'clock as is.
but try to schedule the longer one.
All right, we'll have a second?
Or in the summer.
Remind me when we're going
not a deer season in the.
All in favor? Any opposed? All righty. And you wanna talk about the security cameras?
Yep, so announcement, so security camera installation began on, this past Monday. I know they were there yesterday, I'm not sure if they were there today or not, I didn't see them today either. So it just depends on how far they get with the project, when we were closed on Monday, you know, what the timeline is gonna be, but that's all I know for now. If, you know, I didn't learn any more as far as before the meeting, so that's all the details I have, but I can keep you guys updated as that project moves forward. But it started. They're having to run all the wires, that's kind of what they're doing now. And I did have a couple of other announcements that came up. So I did want to just announce, Don Dittmer's, passing. I think his visitation was tonight. He was a former board member, and I think Scotty said when the Holden Library joined, he was
He was board president,
board president.
yeah, when we joined.
So just wanted to recognize him, this evening. And then, library,
Oh, excuse me, I believe he was also a foundation, but, charter foundation member.
oh,
Yeah.
Charter Foundation
Yeah.
member, okay.
And when
and
I
then
was
the-
at, oh, hey, just, I think there was an option tonight that people could donate money to the Trails Library at his visitation
Oh,
Okay.
nice.
for a
Yeah.
memorial.
And then the last thing that I had was Library Legislation Day. I think back in December, someone had asked me about that. So it is on, let's see, where is it?
Is that where you go to Jeff City and?
Yes,
Hmm.
Yeah, I would like to.
Meet the legislators.
February 7th.
Do they have the banquet anymore, or no?
No, I just got this and printed it today, and so they are having a, update meeting tomorrow, at 4:00. It's a Zoom meeting, I believe. There's a link to register, so I can send all of this out to you if all of you want it, and then you can register or not. I know personally, I am probably not gonna be able to get away to go this year, just because of my schedule and everything. Let's
Who
see,
makes your schedule? It gives you time.
Just sit there and
It's-
do
I don't know, I never been.
Well, I would, we go meet with the legislators from all of our districts and let them know that, how the library fits into the, yeah, we actually did meet with Secretary of State once. But,
Eggs are so high, let's take raw.
when you recommend they go if they could, Judy? Yeah.
I have chickens, I have eggs.
And then you can let our representative in Warrensburg know that, you know, the library isn't a homeless shelter, and what is he going to do about fixing the laws to correct the problems that obviously is at their level?
And make a location for them specifically.
Yeah.
I really feel like we should send a committee from the board to Warrensburg.
So I can
But-
send you guys the information, forward it to you, so that way you'll have it, there's a link to register and all of that. And then if you have any questions or have any trouble, just reach out to me and I'll see what I can do there. But the day is, Library Advocacy Day is on February 7th. And I think that's a Monday, I'm not
No,
sure.
it's a Tuesday.
It's a Tuesday, okay.
It's an interesting day. I would recommend going if you can.
But there is a, like I said, a legislative update meeting tomorrow at 4:00. So I can send all of this to you either tonight when I get back to the office or first thing in the morning. Yes. And then you can, make appointments to meet with certain legislators.
Judy, were you there the day that Mike McGee took us all the way up to the top of the tower outside? That was really fun.
There was construction going on.
Okay.
Both times I was there.
And usually,
It's in Jeff City, right?
yeah, usually they would just have one of their assistants give you a tour or whatever, but he actually took us all the way up to the top and then took us outside.
Since they were set appointments with the individuals, Congressman, they better be there. You know, to hear our complaints and list.
Your state representative.
We
Dan
have,
Howe.
in past years, we've been fighting for the money and things of that nature, so.
And you know, some of those guys, they really care and they really listen, and some of them, you can just tell they don't care if you're there or not. One guy, the guy from Odessa one time, he didn't even show up. We had an appointment with him, he didn't even show up. Oakmeyer,
Oh, okay.
yeah,
Terry Thompson is pretty.
yeah.
Oh,
But Joe All from Lexington, he was always very, very receptive to us, and
yeah, he's in the ag, but yeah, I heard that about Glenn.
We got one from Lexington now. Thompson.
yeah, that's,
I've talked to him.
Yeah,
in person. He
We really like him, and we're real good friends.
Yeah.
Oh, good.
My wife and his wife are just top-notch friends.
That's always helpful.
Yeah.
He did listen to me, yeah.
any other announcements?
I move to adjourn.
All right. Our meeting is over.